Dan, everyone, great. So I'd like to first, before we get started, can everyone give me a quick little blurb about what you're looking for in this webinar? What we will be discussing is what this market is really doing as far as changes in online backup services to managed online backup services and managed backup solutions in respect to the managed service market. If anyone's not looking to get into managed services and you have a retail shop, or if you do both, please let us know. We can address that as well. We're also going to go into the software real deeply. So we're going to go through some demos, information about why this software is important to your solution and how this really changes the competitive landscape as well. All right, terrific. So quick show of hands. How many
muted
people do we have on right now who are already well into managed services? Meaning you already have the majority of your customers on a regular recurring base, and you provide predetermined services thereafter. And then who's looking to get into managed services with this as one of their major starting points, which is what we find to be most common. All right, we got a few. Robert, Dean, Bob. All right, looks like the overwhelming majority is looking to use this program to get into it, and that's perfect. And then David, sure, you can come in for that as well, and we can always talk later. We will be going through a demo at the end. So if you have any questions throughout this presentation, feel free to comment or question using the chat function. And I will stop periodically for questions. In the last 15 minutes, our CEO, Ken Shaw, will come in for another Q&A session. And then based on the Q&A session, we'll enter you all, or the participating members, into the Kindle drawing. So you can win a free Kindle. So first, a little introduction to SOS, where we've come from, what we've done, where we're going. We had rather humble beginnings, 2001, in a dorm room in Melbourne, Australia. Not completely unfamiliar, except not Silicon Valley. From 2001 to 2005, SOS had rather humble operations, dealing mostly in Australia. From 2005 to 2006 was when we really launched our operation to the U.S. market and globally. And that was when we first were awarded our PCMag Editor's Choice Award with our beta version. So we came out the gates hot and haven't looked back since. We've won, since then, 3 additional PCMag Editor's Choice Awards, the latest of which was this November. As far as the partner program is concerned, we've always been very partner-focused, but it wasn't until about 2009 that we really launched this program that you're all in now. From 2005 to 2009, our partner program had 2 parts. You were either in an affiliate program, which is low touch, you just sign up online, you have a rev share going on. Not a whole lot of strategic element behind it. No rebranding, just affiliate. And then we, on the other hand, we had a very development-heavy, intensive partner program for major retailers, and there were only a few because they were very intense as far as the work behind them and the dollars behind them. So what we found was getting to the SMB market, which we really saw as the critical mass of the online backup industry, was to go through IT service providers. So we had the software as a service market that really was pretty heavy from 2006 to about 2009, 2010. And now from 2009, we really saw managed services start to really jump into everyone. So now that you have very affordable RMMs, that you can go out and do a lot of remote work, good reporting tools, storage and cloud services are, of course, more prevalent. And we've seen a big jump into the managed service market, and that's where we're at today. So 2009, we launched our wholesale white label program, and it grew so dramatically that we relocated our headquarters from Melbourne, Australia to here in Los Angeles within a year, almost a year to the date. We were at one point headquartered in Melbourne, very next year after launch, headquartered in LA. and we've seen nothing but growth there ever since. As far as online backup is concerned, cloud backup is really in its huge growth area. So the first few years, 2006 to about 2011, or 2006 to 2009, we saw pretty steady growth. 2009 to 2011, it was about 33% year over year, huge growth market. And that was really still in the early adoption phase. Almost all of that growth was in the consumer market. The reason being that consumers have they have a smaller cost in getting into a market, changing technologies. Whereas an SMB market, they're a little more conservative because they've already put in a lot of money and investment and training into older systems. So tape systems, they've spent months searching for these things. They finally buy it. They spend a lot more money and even more time implementing it. And then they constantly spend time and money maintaining this system. So they had to really make sure they got their money's worth before they could truly look into something else. And that's really what this IDC figure at the bottom right here confirms is, as of this year, only about 16% of the companies surveyed are currently using some sort of online backup. And a stat that's not mentioned here is that of those 16%, 3/4 were using it in a limited scope as an extended trial. Yeah, we're looking at online backup, but it's only for our executive team, or it's only for these key players. It's not really a company-wide thing. So we haven't really implemented it as a strategy. It's just been one thing that we're thinking about moving into soon. Outside of the 16% that did have some sort of online backup and those who had nothing, nearly 70% of the remainder said, but we're looking into using it now. It's something that we're definitely moving into. So the reason for this move is, one, being comfortable with the level of security with this type of service. Two, just being more savvy about cloud services. 5 years ago, a lot of people that that I know, weren't doing anything online as far as bill pay or online banking. And if you talk to someone today who doesn't use some sort of online banking function, it's strange. It's just not that typical any longer. So it's a comfortability with the level of security, which has been proven. It's also the reduction in price. So the online storage costs used to be pretty expensive. In 2006, we were selling a gig for $18 per year. So it's dramatically different than what we're doing now. So you've had a price decrease, technology increase, and we really reached what we find is this price functionality inflection point, where we're now providing such a deep breadth of services when it comes to a cloud backup solution, and at such a cost that it doesn't make sense not to do it. It's just kind of a de facto part of your program. Whereas moving from 2006 to 2009, the sale was, for our partners anyways, well, you're already doing this and this for backup, but we can really complement those services and complete a whole solution by adding some sort of cloud aspect to your backup strategies. Well, now it becomes almost a reversed conversation. It's, let's get rid of all that tape system stuff, let's get you to the cloud, and then let's complement your cloud backup with some sort of on-site backup strategies. That's what we're seeing now, and that's what our program provides. With our program, you're going to get the full end-to-end backup solution. So local and off-site backup for both file and folder strategies and for image-based strategies for bare metal recovery. So again, primarily the market used to be segmented, which was a bare metal versus file folder business, and for no reason other than a new technology was in play. And as we started putting things together, it just makes sense when you start going through your formal risk registries or your business continuity plans, which is what everyone's signing up for now, is that these services are really all required to have a true backup solution, or what's more marketable as a business continuity and disaster recovery plan. So again, business continuity and disaster recovery, it describes a lot more than just, do you have backups? A lot of people are comfortable with the idea of just having backups without even knowing the different options they have for backup and recovery. A business continuity and disaster recovery plan is really just a risk registry. Anyone use formal risk registries and call them risk registries still? Anyone familiar with some? It's really just formal project management speak, and a lot of people see that as kind of a threat, like, whoa, that's a little too much for what we got going on here. We don't need something that formal. It seems like excessive. But if you call it business continuity, it's like, oh, okay, you're going to keep me up and running. You're going to become kind of an asset to the business. And that's really where the managed service market is taking us, and that's why we're seeing the SMB adoption curves drive so dramatically at this point, is because rather than being sold as an add-on, as a complement to services, it now becomes a default part of your managed service package. This is better for you, this is better for your customer. So in the managed service market, which is why all of you or most of you are looking to get into it, is that you're now becoming an asset to the businesses you serve rather than a cost center. So IT services, it's risk management, but reactionary only. Very little prevention in there because you're not being paid to prevent things. You're only being paid to fix things. So when you get into managed services, you're providing better services and you have aligned your goals with your customers. And now you can spend a lot less time fixing things and more time preventing or improving situations. Now you can get into some sort of operations evaluation for some of your customers. If they're using some really archaic ways of transferring files around the office, do they use their email as their main file transfer protocol? It's a very common thing to see in the market. How could you simplify this for them and make this really work to their advantage? How do you become an asset to the business? And that's what, again, we're providing for you. So backing up your application data, image-based backups for bare metal recovery, file and folder backup for your file servers, and then, more importantly, protecting your endpoints. So the workstations and laptops, which is still estimated at holding roughly 60% of a business's data, despite our efforts to centralize everything. So what are you getting in this partner program along with the services? Well, one thing, again, we talked about the partner program being our primary focus, is we want you to be able to get out there and start selling this and really not have to worry about a whole lot. And we did something that no one else in the market has done. And what we've done is, instead of just offering you our APIs so that you can integrate things into your own merchant system, so we've built out this web integration package. This comes as a standard part of the program. No additional cost. It just is what it is. You're going to get an integration package that includes different modules, things that you can plug in for Authorize.net, PayPal Pro, eWay for our Australian partners. That way you don't have to go through an elongated and expensive development cycle just to get this so that you can sell it from your website. Also, we've integrated some other systems. Some of our partners didn't really have a strong web presence or didn't want to have to spend the money or time to add this to their existing websites. So we've integrated CK Editor, which is a kind of a Joomla WordPress similar content management system, so that you have default content for your new product and that you can edit very simply in a visual editor. So we've given you a lot of tools. Support system that's integrated into this, very basic but gets the job done. There's a mass email system for getting started to the market. You want to mail out your customers and let them know that you have this new service. It has statistics as far as bounce rates, click-through rates. You have subscription mails. A really powerful system, and again, at no additional cost. It's just part of the program. And we're going to go through that in a little bit. Also part of the program is, if we go through these things, you've seen that we're really offering a whole lot more than anyone else. So aside from the web integration package, which is just not just unique or special, it's completely unique. There is no similarity to anywhere in the market. But we're going to also provide rebranding for the client, which not everyone does. Rebranded marketing materials, and as we turn out more materials and studies, we'll make those available to you so that you can rebrand those if you like. So if you go to our main website, sosonlinebackup.com, and you see the speed test done at the bottom that goes against Carbonite and Mozy, if you're just talking about the online backup segment, you can take that information. We make that available for you in our Partner Resource Center. So again, it's really nice. And then of course the out-the-gate ability to receive sales online, even if it's not a part of your business now. You know, why wouldn't you just make it a part of your business? You didn't have any money towards it, no development costs. Now all you have to do is have a leave behind at all your businesses. Want a backup solution and maybe a help desk service at home? You know, use this coupon code and go sign up on our website. And yes, the web integration package supports coupon codes inherently. All you have to do is go and set them up, you know, for whatever discount you want. Very simple get-to-market strategy with our program. And not only that, we don't require hardware, which a lot of the image-based programs and bare metal recovery programs do. You know, things like a Segra, Datto, Zenith. You know, you're paying $1,000 to $2,000 wholesale out the gate just to talk about what backup services you want to put in place. We don't require that at all. We have the software, we have recommended setups, and you go from there as you see fit. Our price per gig, you know, down to 11 cents per gig per year. That's, I'm sorry, 11 cents per gig per month. I mean, this is not only clearly one of the cheaper options in the program, but you're getting a lot more. Again, some of these programs, what they're offering for backup doesn't include file and folder at an unlimited number of machines, as well as image-based backup, which you can take off-site. A lot of these companies, you know, you're getting half the service for this increased price. We also have the biggest presence as far as data centers globally: UK, US, Canada, Australia, India, and Ukraine. And we're looking to add a presence in South Africa in the next 6 to 8 months or so. But you know, the data center presence is just something that's really important. You know, if you're in Canada and it's really important that you keep data within territorial borders, we can do that, no problem. Same within the UK, same within the US, not an issue. Exchange backup, SQL backup, Windows backup, yes, yes, yes. Big additions to our program. So specifically with the product suite is starting at the top of the clock, we have Cloud Life. This is a product that SOS started as an experiment. We've put it on hold, not indefinitely, but just temporarily, and we'll pick it up again later. But the idea is businesses continue to use social mediums and cloud mediums for very important items. So your marketing through Facebook, Twitter, using Google services. Being able to back these things up is becoming more and more important as we see that Facebook, Twitter, and Gmail aren't set up to protect you. So it's something like, you know, thousands of accounts in Facebook every day are lost or somehow violated, where they lose all their information or lose access. You know, what if you could back up all of your contacts that you made? You know, how much time and effort did it take in social marketing to get that list of followers? So the idea is to protect that. You know, every time there's a global event, the Twitterverse seems to shut down, as it's just such a fast-growing market. So we will be picking that up later, but right now that's not available. Backing up your desktop life, going counterclockwise. Of course, it's been our bread and butter for years. One thing that people have really neglected over the time is the user when it comes to your backup solution, because it was too difficult to implement something at the user level. Well, the user is the biggest point of exposure in any system. It's the biggest risk you have in any system, and it's important that you back that up. And again, studies from IDC and reviewed by TechCrunch has showed that still 60% of a business's data resides on individual workstations and PCs, especially with laptops being taken home. You never know when people are taking it home. They save things in directories they're not supposed to. Users are just good at it. Now you have a really simple online backup solution. You install it. You can put custom scanning settings so that it hits all the data that you want it to hit, and all the data and it avoids all the data you don't want it to hit, and then backs up on a regular basis, every hour, every 2 hours, very light on the machine. You barely notice except for the email report that comes through that says you're good to go. Back up your mobile life. So we have an iPhone application, and we just released a generic version of the iPhone application. If you search through the App Store for Managed Offsite Backup, you'll see that. It allows your users to back up and protect the contacts and the images from their phone. So that's really important as phones become more and more of a hub of your operation, as not just your personal life, but of your professional life. So you can do that. Also, a lot of our users, when they, the backup file in your Windows machine or your Mac, you can search that out and you can back that file up as well. It also allows you for recovery. The Droid application, we will be releasing in a generic app in the next 30 to 60 days, and it'll give you the same functionality. You'll be able to back up your file structure as well as just an intelligent scan. And it also gives you access to search through your backup set, recover, and share data. And then, of course, the mobile portals available now has them, and you can go from any mobile browser or virtually any mobile browser to search through your backup set, recover, and share data. Then moving right along to about 5, 6 o'clock, back up your file data. So again, file servers, the heavy load. A lot of backup programs start choking up once they get to about that million file mark, or even below that. Our system, especially with the new code base release we just had this last April or March with version 5, we've now tested successfully, even in live environments with customers, a backup set of 15 million files refreshing over a typical internet connection within about 15 minutes. Now, that may seem like a long time, but 15 million files is a pretty significant backup set, and almost every other system that we're aware of or follow just couldn't do it. They would have to go through some sort of manual recovery process. And, 6 months ago, the same was for us. But with the major changes we just released, we handled this type of large backup set no problem. So your large file servers, good to go. Newly added with ServerSave is the ability to protect application data and system data. So hitting from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, we now have the ability to add in the volume-based backup system. Now you can also take these backups off-site, with a continuous incremental system, so that updating the incremental backups for your images is very simple. It can be done within a couple of hours every night. And we have a cloud boot option, where per order you tell us, hey SLS, we just had a major disaster, we need to get a cloud boot order in. No problem. We'll mount the drive at the virtual machine in our cloud, provide you with an IP address and credentials so you can access that data and start rebuilding your hardware on site as your business continues to work off site. A couple of questions here. When after first system backup is done, will subsequent backups just be incremental, meaning just files that may have changed? For an image-based backup system through Image Creator, yes. So going through here, Image Creator is at a file level. Online backup and recovery is actually at a block level. So blocks are just a unit of measurement within files. There's so many bits in a byte, bytes in a block, blocks in a file. Doing a block level incremental is much faster, especially when you're talking about larger files. So if you're backing up, say, a TST file, it's a couple gigs. The competitive services may take a few hours because they have to re-back up a 2 or 3 gig file. Our system's going to dig into it, and it's going to find maybe 10, 15 minutes of incremental delta data, and you can take that on in 10, 15 minutes. So it really becomes a big system. And going through the features and benefits of the ServerSave program, what are you getting? Again, exchange backup and granular recovery. A lot of services, they sell you the hardware, $1,000. Then you need a license for exchange backup and recovery on top of it. Or maybe or it comes with exchange backup and recovery at a full mailbox item or mail store. But what if you want to do granular recovery? Then that's an additional add-on. Ours doesn't do that. It just comes with EGR, Exchange Granular Recovery, and you can just take the EDB file that you've backed up off-site using Image Creator, and you can recover down to the message level. You can search, you can preview. I mean, a lot of these services, you buy the granular recovery item, and there's still no search or preview item. We just had a customer come from Backup Exec and said that they couldn't believe that their program didn't allow for a search or preview function because it just makes so much sense. You know, I can search, and we'll go through the demo, and I'll show you that later. I can search for a specific attachment file name, and then I can open up that message, preview the message, and even look at the attachment before recovering it to the user. And it's very, very simple and intuitive. Bare metal image creator, again, this is a local backup agent. So ServerSave includes a number of applications. So we have EGR, an image creator. Image creator, you're going to select a volume or a number of volumes, and you're going to back up bare metal image files to some local network option. So on a NAS, if you do that, we recommend putting it to some sort of beefed up black box. You know, for example, we have set up here a Windows 7 block, 64-bit, 12 gigs of RAM, and 8-core processor, so that we can, you know, split it up into a lot of different VMs should we need to recover another environment into a VM. So it just, you know, that's what we recommend, and we have knowledge base articles about it as well, which we can go over. Workstation backup and online backup and recovery. We've separated these just for the clarification and for the push that your workstations need to be a part of your backup solution. This is such an overlooked segment of the market as far as laptop fleet protection. You know, a lot of people work off-site. How do you protect the work that they're doing off-site? You know, you have business travel. How do you protect that information? And having a workstation backup solution is nice to be able to put in the hands of some of your savvy users. Maybe it's not something that everyone has. Maybe it's something that only, you know, maybe a majority of your users have it. But being able to have an individual account, you know, 5 to 10 gigs is usually good enough for businesses, unless you talk about your marketing people who have a lot of images and things. But individual backup accounts, it's a simple program. The reason we've won PC Mag's Editor's Choice Award 4 times is because, quote unquote, we've made the process both simple and secure. So it's just a simple program, but powerful. You know, simplicity without sacrificing security, which is hard to do. For those of you in development, understand that security often means complexity, and it certainly does on our end, but we don't pass it on to our users. Then the Premier Web Integration Package. Again, this web integration package is unlike anything that our customer going to any other program are getting. Nowhere else are you going to get this web integration package. You know, the reason we put this together is because we were finding that our partners were spending an average of 2 to 3 months and $5,000 to $10,000 just to get integration into their systems. You know, getting a website presence set up, integrating into a merchant system, which wasn't as common, but about 40% were trying to do that. And we said, hey, if we can, you know, just put the most common types of integration needs together in one package and give it to you, would that help you get to market? Everyone said yes, so we built this out. Just another point that the partner program is what we're serious about, and we do spend a lot of time making it easy for you to get to market. Then, of course, the mobile applications, you get a mobile portal, so m.managedoffsitebackup.net. That is available as well. The iPhone generic application, Apple wouldn't let us publish it under a DBA, so it is published by SOS, but it's available for you. And then we will be releasing a generic APK for Droid application use that you can post on your web package or your website. So it's, again, we're giving you an end-to-end solution. Not only are you protecting and giving access at mobile devices, but you're giving protection and access at workstations as well as at servers, administratively and individually, depending on how your business is set up. So this really offers quite an amazing set of services that is affordable for the first time for your micro businesses. Who has micro businesses, let's say a couple, less than 5 employees, that would be able to pay, $150 a month for online backup, for a backup solution that includes image-based backup, local and off-site, as well as file and folder backup individually. That's not a lot to ask. They're probably paying that much or more right now if they have a solution in place. This slide just kind of goes through how SOS has really changed. before we released ServerSave, which gives us the ability for total business backup, that business continuity solution, we were competing primarily with Carbonite and Mozy. And we were doing so in a much more security-driven manner. You know, it wasn't about getting the price down cheap. It was about maintaining security and professionalism of the service. And in the early days, it was tough to compete with that. But now that we're seeing the SMB market really come alive, you know, we're looking at an increase in IT spending over the next couple of years to go from 1% to 3%. And it's already a billion-dollar industry, so 3xing that is good for all of us. Now we look into what we do with ServerSave. Now we're introducing some new competitors, Zenith, Tronus, Evil. And these systems, we used to recommend that our customer, we literally used to have our partners, I'd recommend them going to a company like Zenith for their image-based backup, locally and off-site. And then using us for the online backup portion. And we had a lot of partners who did that. And then as soon as we released ServerSave, it was a wave of, oh, thank you, it's about time. You know, now I can stop that expensive Zenith program, and I can come over to you, get better services, and without the bulky hardware mess that they were forcing me through. So it's been terrific. So again, the flexibility and speed, we're really excited about version 5.2 for business. It's an entirely new code base. It's not just client-side changes, but server-side changes. We rewrote the entire backup engine, and we've seen about a 40% increase in backup speed overall. And the speed test that we did on our main website, sosonlinebackup.com, that was done with our version 4 technology. So we're way faster than then, and we were already way faster than everyone else. So it's really nice to see. And the recovery difference is, it sounds silly to say, but literally an 800% increase in recovery power. So it's really been spectacular to see what the ServerSave program has done since our launch in November. And then this project of rewriting our whole code base has been beautiful. Now we have a new monitoring and management system, which we're coming out with new features. You know, every month we're rolling out new reporting and monitoring features, and all based on the feedback we get from our partners. So the communication we have with our channel is really terrific, and we do take it very seriously. So we want you guys to let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you want to tweak, and we're open to it all. You know, it's really how we've built the program today. The web integration package, I think, speaks to that more strongly than you can say about any partner program in the industry. You know, who else is doing a pre-baked integration package? Most of them just hand you the APIs and say good luck. So this is where the ServerSave, again, this is what we were facing before ServerSave. This is what we were offering. It was great. We were one of the stronger programs in the market still, but it's very saturated. Lots of different options here. But now you look at people who are offering everything across this whole spectrum, it becomes a pretty slim pickings. Even on the left side, it's not that intense. But then if you look from end to end, there's really, you know, one answer, and that's OS is the end-to-end solution that you want to get at. So questions about pricing. Robert's asking, how do we price about SMB? Well, this is kind of our cost breakdown, and if you talk to your partner specialists, they'll be able to get you this slide deck, and they're going to talk through this with you as well. But we recommend that your suggested retail price per environment with our ServerSave program, which is our base entry program at $399 a month, gets you 1,000 gigs of cloud space, and you can provision those across, you know, 1,000 different accounts. And it gets you 5 ServerSave licenses. So again, that's five machines that you can do image-based backup and exchange granular recovery with. Based on the $399 price, our suggested retail is about evenly split is $129 a month, and that's just for the software. That doesn't speak to the managed services behind it, and that's really where the market doesn't know what to do about it. We're expecting, the IDC is expecting a tremendous growth from 1 to 3%, then a 3x in market in the next 2.5 years, but without calculating in the managed service costs. So just the flat hardware and just the hard costs involved. But are you offering, test recoveries on a regular basis? If you do a test recovery, are you going to keep that recovery at your location to have multiple off-site? You already have dual off-site with us as long as you don't have a country-specific need. But if you have an image ready to go on your site and their place goes down, having it on your site is even faster than going through Cloud Boot with us. So what else are you doing for the management of the backup solution and of their network to do this? You have your RMM programs, remote monitoring and management, which we have plans to really start looking at integrations into systems like Level Platforms, GFI Max, ConnectWise, you name it. There's a big list of things that we're looking to get into in the next, probably starting at the end of this summer and then going through next spring. We're going to be adding integration to a number of RMM systems as time goes on. So what else are you offering? So and we have most customers. Just an update. Looking at the ServerSave 5, if you gave somebody 200 gigs of online backup space plus a ServerSave license for image-based backup, does anyone think they would charge less than $150 a month? Or what would you think you charge for that type of system? And I'll tell you, and as those numbers come in, I'll tell you what everyone's saying and what before these groups come in, what we typically find. From our launch partners, we find that most people would be charging a minimum of $150 to $160 per month for that package, and that's for their low-end good friend customers. That's not something they would do typical. They all advertise at $180 to $200 a month for that. And then as you go on, you can upgrade. Get started with ServerSave 5. As you start to get into a rhythm, you can upgrade with different cloud packs, additional terabytes, additional server licenses, and you can get your costs down dramatically. So you start ServerSave 5, and your cost is at $80 per month, and that includes the 200 gigs and one server license. And as you move down the line, you can get down to $36 a month. So you can really start to see your margin just take off. And again, call your partner specialist. They're going to go through a specific one-on-one ROI discussion with you. All of you have to go through and make sure, is this going to be a wise business decision? And we want to make sure too. We don't want to misplace anyone. So our partner specialist, their job is to go through, identify, based on your current customer base, what you have coming in, what you can have for this. So let's do a quick run through, and we have Ken Shaw, our CEO, joining us now. So if you have questions for him, feel free to start entering those. And only those who ask questions get entered into the Kindle drawing. So we're forcing the hand.
Morning, everybody.
I'm going to load up our Server 2008 VM so we can look at what ServerSave looks like in an actual server environment. And Ken, I guess you can kind of go through some of the questions you're looking for.
Yeah, sure thing, folks. So, the goal with these webinars is to sort of show you all of our offerings, but from a product standpoint, and then the various program elements that matter to you as a partner, things like pricing, billing, marketing support, sales support. So if you've got any questions really about any sort of part of the program, either technical or product related, or just to do with the partner side of the program, please do ask them. Use the questions tool. As Derek said, we draw the Kindle giveaway from people who've posted questions, we'll start taking questions now, and Derek's going to do a quick fly through of the actual product itself.
Hold on a second. All right, is everyone seeing the virtual machine now? You should see the SOS. It's actually the Partner Resource Center that we're looking at. All right, looks good. Okay, so I'm bringing it up right now, and I see some questions coming in. Keep them coming. We're going to go through a quick demo, and then we'll take up all the questions at the end. So thank you all for already getting into it. So as we have the online backup segment, this is ServerSave. So when you log into ServerSave, it's going to dynamically brand your logo. So your logo goes here, your product name goes here. This is the username I'm logged in as. And we have 3 applications, as we discussed. We have the online backup and recovery tool. This is to get the data offsite to the secure SOS cloud and to recover it from the SOS cloud. Here we have Image Creator, which is the image-based backup system, and Exchange Granting and Recovery. Self-explanatory. So first, quick run through Exchange or the Image Creator. So let's go to backup jobs, and let me remove this so we can show you all the scheduling options. But I create a backup first, and then you select the volume. So we'll select the Exchange volume here. Then you select your network location. So typically you would go to this staging machine that we talked about, some beefed up Windows 7 box. For this purpose, I'm just going to go to a virtual drive F, which you can also do as well. Then we're going to schedule. Now you have this bulky, let's do a full backup every week schedule, which is very typical of older systems. But with the technology we have in our recovery method, which is just an intelligent file chain where you just select the most recent incremental, and it'll intelligently go back and get the full and each sequential incremental for you rather than you having to do it. You just do continuous incrementals now. This is the new wave of image-based backup. So full immediately, and then we're going to do an image-based backup every hour between business hours or whatever hours you want it to do. And at the end, it'll consolidate into a single incremental file, which is also a self-healing process. So those of you familiar with image-based backup systems, a big problem is you don't know if you actually have a backup until you go to restore. Well, this consolidation essentially mocks that restore point, so that it really helps us get along. We have VSS enabled, which means we're doing a transactionally consistent backup versus a crash-consistent backup. Very important detail to understand. In short, crash-consistent backups mean that you're going to lose or potentially lose data upon the snapshot. It's not going to negotiate with the databases and make sure that they have stopped all the transactions before a snapshot takes place. So you can lose data, which is why historically you have to shut down a database before backing it up. Well, using VSS, any database that has VSS writer enabled, which is all SQL databases pretty much, you'll be good to go. For those of you who do have some older databases, we do have an advanced section where you can enter pre-snapshot and post-snapshot commands to start or stop databases that don't have a VSS writer. So if you have older stuff, usually accounting software, you can do that. We also have encryption available. So those of you who require HIPAA compliance, you need to put a 128-bit AES encryption on the local image backup file. You can do that effortlessly here. So we'll cancel this out. You can also split the image into multiple pieces for better performance with the online backup segment. So splitting the image used to be a pain because it had more management behind it. But again, the intelligent recovery that we have doesn't mean that this changes any management for you. It's going to be the same. It's going to do it for you. So we'll split it up. Then we have our summary. We hit finish. Now it's going to run it back up at the top of the hour. So we have that backed up. Now let's say that that's going to our staging machine, but now we want to get it off-site. So we open up our online backup and recovery tool. Log into this. And it's going to come to our wizard. We have some various options in the wizard, so you can change where the folder locations go. We do have overhead requirements in the cache and the temp folder due to the Delta level backup that we discussed earlier. And we have articles and trainings on that. For more information, contact your partner specialist. But you can change that simply here. You can also add in some different caching options, as well as relocating the cachings altogether. Or you could go with file type filters. Beyond the file type filters, that's actually handled in the wizard now. So if we go to set up online backup, we have different options to scan all the files, and it's going to intelligently search through the entire machine for documents, images, music, video, and the most common types of common file types for these different segments. But we have also added this custom filter where you can include or exclude folders or files, if files even based on file size. So it creates a really nice way that you can search through all your machines and get this done. We're also just allow for, okay, well, maybe I don't want it to scan everything. Hit next. And then we just have the simple Windows tree view. And the Windows tree view should be familiar to most everyone who's been working in Windows for a while, or even shortly. And you have all the drives that are available. These are all virtual drives. You can expand or go through them. You can click on them and see the specific files that are in here. So currently I have my F drive selected, which is where I put the image-based backups. Really convenient to be able to just say, okay, let's just get this whole folder. A checkbox means anything added to this folder will be backed up in the next scheduled backup run. Here in this bar, we have what we've selected for backup, just under 9 gigs, and we have a 10 gig account, which is this red bar. We hit next, and we go into our scheduling settings. So we can back up at the end of the wizard, or we can back up automatically without user intervention. This is to put it on a schedule. For workstations and laptops, you can do this hourly, every hour, every 2 hours, every 3 hours. This is just a nice way to keep your users protected at the user level, at the source of data creation and change. For your servers, you may want to go with something daily, doing it after hours, at night. Let's say 7 p.m., and it'll run for a few hours, but that way you really don't have to worry about productivity losses for various resource uses. Also, for those of you in a server environment, you want to make sure that you have your Windows domain credentials logged in here so that if you are backing up data from network drives, that when your user is logged out, it will still be able to access that data. So our system is completely based on Windows permissions. So if your user has access to push and pull data from a certain location, then you can back it up. We don't have limitations like other services where, oh, it's a map drive, you can't get that. Or it's an external drive, you can't get that. And as silly as that sounds, it's not uncommon. You can send email reports to multiple email addresses here. So I have my email address, separate by semicolon, go through that. Then you get an email report upon each backup. It's going to tell you how many files changed, how many files were backed up, how many files weren't backed up. If there are errors, you'll get the top 20 error list. And generally that's all you need, because if there's more than 20 errors on your backup, it's usually a permissions issue. We don't really see anything other than that. So just usually it requires going in here, entering your Windows domain credentials, and then you're good to go. But you do have that information if you need it. So we have the backups running on a regular basis. We have access to the web portal. So if you are on a machine that's not yours and you just wanted to go to your backup set in the cloud and then recover or share something, then you'd be able to do that from anywhere. So here it's logged me into the cloud system, and I can go just based on the filters that we saw on the scanner. Or I have a list of all the machine names here that I can go through. More commonly, you just go to search, and then you just type in the file name that you want, hit find, and it's going to search through your entire backup set and see what we can find. We also have reporting for backup history and managed machine details. Now let's say we've been running backups. We need to restore some information. So we open up the online backup segment when we go to online restore. And we have a calendar view here. You can select a bold date, either which tells you that backup was run on this date, and you can go back as long as you've had this account. We never purge information from your account. So my personal account, I can go back to 2008, can go back to 2001, and see the information in his account. There's hundreds of versions of files, tons of machines, and you can see how nice that would be. Or just do today's date. For this, I actually prefer going to the classic view, so I'll open it up. And I prefer the classic view just because you can expand it, and I'm a classic view type of guy. So we refresh the server, we see how many thousands of files it had, and we have all these different machines. This is one account, and these are all different machines. Currently, we're on laptop demo, so I go to my F drive. I can sort by name and say, let's go down here. We need to recover backup job 14. Okay, so we select 14, and we're going to scroll down all the way here. We're just going to shift select this, right-click, recover. So now we recovered all the images and the incrementals for backup job 14. And let's say we've gone through this recovery process, and we just put it back into our F drive, which is our faux staging machine at this point. So now what do? We have the information recovered from the cloud. So we go to F drive and we see, okay, we have all these images. We flip for, we get to take any backup job. There's a lot of them in here. So backup job 13. We just right click, and without opening any piece of software, you just hit quick mount. And in a couple of seconds, it's going to pop up a new virtual drive with all the information that I just quick mounted from that image. So here's our exchange data right here that we just recovered. So I can go through this and see what's going on. Now, I can open the software if I want more specific control. And you can go to restore if you need a boot disk for, say, a true bare metal recovery and not just trying to do a virtual drive. But it's a pretty similar step. You just select the image you want and asks you which one you want to get to, and it'll intelligently recover all the data you need to get there. So let's move into Exchange Granular Recovery. We open up this program, and it's first going to ask us for, okay, well, where's the source? Where's your backup file? Go to my computer. I go to Exchange R, which is what we just created. Go to mailbox, pull out the EDB file, automatically select the transaction log directory. You can change it if you want. Hit OK. And it's going to load up the data from that EDB. You can choose to do a destination as a target PST. Not very common for digital discovery needs usually, but that's not very common for what you all do unless you're into electronic discovery or digital discovery. Typically, you're going to be opening up some target exchange server. So here are my domain controller setting, the server name, hit OK. And again, this is going to allow us to get in that, allow us access based on the Windows credentials that we logged in as. So the Windows permissions is heavy in the system. So let's say we have user 1. He comes to us and says, hey, there's this attachment that I need. It has something to do with management. I just can't find it. So we could say, okay, we could search just his inbox, or we can search the whole mail server. Let's just search the whole mail server just to make it quick and easy. We search management, find now, and then we get a list of all these files. And again, not all granular recovery add-ons include a search function. Really seems kind of silly when you think about it. And if it doesn't require a search, does it have preview? We have preview. Then you have the attachment management guide. Perfect. He says that's the one. So we go back to EGR. We're just going to expand his inbox, and then we're going to drag and drop this right in there. And this is done. Very simple. We can shift select all these images if we need to, say you need to audit anyone who touched this document. Sure, throw it in here. You could save this report if for some reason the filters and what you put in here, the created date before date, were tough to get at. You could save that for another time as well. You can also just drag and drop an entire user in here. Oh, we want to cancel that, so I don't want to go through that right now. If you wanted to just recover, say you want to recover this EDB to dissimilar hardware, you can just drag and drop this whole thing right there as well. Say OK, and I'm not going to do this now for demo purposes, but you can see how simple it is to get that done. And that's the SOS online backup system from end to end. So now we'll take some questions on what we just saw or any of that.
Terrific, thanks, Derek. So, just sort of recapping what we just saw Derek do. He went through pretty quickly, but we did a full bare metal backup of the system. We set up that backup to go and replicate to the cloud. Then he simulated recovering down an Exchange server and then doing granular recovery. So we can do Exchange recovery either at the full server level, at the individual mailbox level, or even down to the message level. So a very flexible system on both backup and recovery. Got a few questions on the line here. How many of these questions have we already gone through, Derek?
We've really just gotten to the subsequent backups, and then we're going to start. Actually, we're starting at Kuntal Patel with the online backup.
Online backup or bare metal. Is there a limit to the file size or file type that won't be backed up? Patel, sort of it depends. Generally speaking, any bare metal backups you're doing up to, say, 100 gigabytes are not going to have any problem. Above that, what we recommend you do is split the image into multiple images. So when Derek was going through the demo, you might have seen there was an option there to split the bare metal image into files of a certain size. And we actually recommend using, say, 10 gigabyte chunks for those images. And that just actually speeds up the replication to the cloud. So it's a setting during the setup wizard to split those images if you're dealing with large machine images. But we've actually found that most of the server images that we're backing up with ServerSave end up being in the low tens of gigabytes ranges. Web servers, database servers, up to 50 gigabytes roughly. When you're talking email servers, it generally ends up being quite larger than that, and splitting the image becomes more important. Bruce has got a question about our sales portal. Does it support credit cards issued outside the USA? Most of my clients are Canadian. Bruce, we've got quite a lot of partners up in Canada, and yes, the portal does support credit cards issued outside of the US. We've probably got 100 MSP partners in Canada using that portal.
Yeah, specifically, you go and sign up for the PayPal Pro service, and you can use that. Authorized.net is about to launch support for Canadian merchant services, so that would be the personal recommendation that I have. SOS can't really go more than that. But Authorized.net will be available in Canada in the next 3 to 4 months, I believe.
And Robert's asking, do you have marketing and sales tools? Robert, we've got quite a rich library of marketing and sales tools. We call it the Partner Resource Center, and it's filled with most of the material you're going to need to go to market with the product. So things like the presentation Derek was using earlier, email marketing templates that you can use in automated drip email marketing campaigns, sales proposal templates that you can use to quote your customers, explain the product to your customers, sort of sell sheets or flyers that you can use as templates and customize for your brand and your business. So a very rich library of resources there in the Partner Resource Center, along with training videos, and not to mention the ongoing training that we do for partners. We're running training every day of the week in webinar-style format on 3 different streams. So there's sales training, there's an overall partner orientation training program that we run, and then there's a technical stream as well. So 3 different training streams that you can join there in addition to using the Partner Resource Center materials. Also worth noting, we've got a dedicated business development manager whose only job it is to work with existing partners to help them sell through to their customers. So his name's Mike Zarudny, and Mike's a great resource to help you formulate your go-to-market strategy, to figure out which of our marketing resources are most appropriate for you and your customers, and really help you in that first 90 to 120 days, which we've found is the most crucial sort of period in a partner's life as they're getting up and running with an online backup business. Some other questions here. Keith asks, how do you satisfy customers who are adverse to storing their critical business information in the cloud, i.e. any system can be hacked? Keith, this sort of concern used to be a lot more prevalent than it is these days. Our approach to this, particularly in the early days of the company, was encryption. So using our ultra-safe encryption stack, the customers can optionally opt to use client-side private key encryption, which effectively means we can't get at their data. The AES standards promulgated by NIST, which is the body which certifies encryption standards for use by the US government. AES 128 is rated to encrypt secret government data. And as you saw in the demo as Derek was going through it, there's even an option there to use AES 256 bits, which is the standard required for government to encrypt top secret government data. So you've got heavy layers of encryption built into the product at every level. Bob asks, can you use attached storage on the server itself to back up to? Bob, are you asking about the staging server? In which case you can use any kind of storage you like on that staging server. Patel asks, can SOS function in a headless mode, i.e. run as a service in a Windows or a Linux box? Patel, definitely on a Windows box it can run headless and as a service. Not on a Linux box. We don't have any native Linux clients. So the way we handle backing up Linux boxes today is through that staging server pattern you saw earlier, where you would make data available through a share from the Linux source machine you're dealing with, and we'd then back that up to the cloud via some Windows machine running on your network. Patel's got another question. Can you back up external drives? If yes, is there a limit on the hard drive size? What about backing up map drives? Patel, Yes on external drives, yes on network drives, no on hard disk limit. So there's no limit on the size of the network or external disks you connect to the system. Bruce says, if you never purge old files, wouldn't the account fill up really quickly? Bruce, yes and no. If it's multiple versions of the same file, we actually provide that versioning to you for free, so that doesn't count against your account allowance. So all of those versions that are building up on any given file, that's just part of the SOS system, and you don't need to worry about the space or the size that uses. Patel's got another question. Are all the backup sets stored at the same data center? How safe, secure is that data center? What happens in the case of disaster affecting the data center? So Patel, we work very closely with our data center providers. We don't run the data centers themselves. We've got points of presence all around the world. And generally, we're using Tier 3 and Tier 4 data centers, which effectively means fully redundant everything, power, cooling, bandwidth. Our primary data center is in Houston. It's been online since 2004 and has never experienced a single minute of downtime. So it's one of the sort of the best data centers in America. Data is, generally speaking, when you become a partner, you get to choose where your data gets routed to and what level of replication occurs. In our history, we've even had partners who've opted to replicate the data to 6 different data centers around the world. Generally speaking, it's sort of dramatic overkill is what we've found, but certainly those options do exist.
Yeah, and the Houston data center didn't have a blip even during, was it Hurricane Rita in 2009, right? Where Houston was evacuated. And Kuntal, I think if you were there during that time, you know how intense that storm was. And we were kind of sitting back and waiting to hear the phone ring, and nothing happened. We were sitting pretty.
Another question here from Patel. Last thing, is there a trial version plan that is offered, or is that up to each partner on what they want to offer? There are trial plans that we enable partners to offer to their customers, but generally speaking, it's up to the partner what they want to offer. Robert asks, how fast is the first full backup of, say, 150 gigabytes to SOS? Robert, that's mainly going to be driven by the speed of your uplink. So that the very biggest bottleneck in cloud backup and cloud replication is always the uplink in the source location. One of the reasons why we recommend the staging server deployment pattern is for large payloads like hundreds of gigabytes, it's better to back it up over the network to the staging box and then replicate from the staging machine to the cloud over several days. Now, for large initial backups, you can send the data to us on a physical drive, and we'll upload it for you. And that's usually sort of another way to get the cloud replication jump-started if you don't want to use the staging server deployment pattern. David asks, what's your average end customer size, i.e. 20 desktops, 2 servers? David, it's really a mix. Our most common offering is a 5-server, 1,000 endpoint offering. So that's the most popular package that everybody selects, 5 servers and 1,000 endpoints. And that comes with 250 gigabytes of cloud space.
And elaborate on that a little more. It's tough to say right now because our market has changed so dramatically, and as we showed earlier in the presentation, the market itself and their level of adoption is changing so dramatically. So before the launch of ServerSave, we were finding an average of about 1 server and about 20 to 50 workstations was pretty typical. We're now finding that with the addition of ServerSave and with the market just adopting these services at a much higher frequency and higher rate, that we're finding that our averages are growing dramatically. So it seems like every month the new profile for our average customer increases. Now it's about 2 servers and still about 20 to 50 workstations, but heavier lifting is becoming dramatically increased, which is the great part about the new code base that we talked about with the million file backup set, no problem. The 15 million file backup set that we refreshed in 15 minutes just a couple weeks ago, which we were actually kind of surprised about, but worked out really well.
Any other questions on the line? We've run out of questions. We've got one more comment here from David Hudsma. I'm with AVG looking for a SMB demo. David, let us know if we've answered any of your questions or demoed everything you needed to see. Derek, did you demo the central management, the WIP, and the rest of those systems?
No, we didn't go through that. We can go through that now for those of you who want to stick around for a little longer.
Yeah, so we're over time for the webinar, everybody, so we're just being mindful of everybody's time. If there are any questions that you've got right now, please do ask them, and we'll try and answer them. straight away, and then we can do some more. Derek can continue some of the product demos and answer some of the more detailed questions people have got. We can go a little bit over time here.
Again, just to go through, when you have all this information here available to you as far as deployment methods and all that, and you call up your partner specialists, and those of you who have asked questions, we got your names down. So Terry, Dan, James, Jessica, Jose, a couple people who aren't yet in the drawing, but not too late. But call in 877-896-3611. They're going to figure out, one, is this program really appropriate for you? And then, if so, at what level? And we really want to make sure that you're properly placed in our program, because it doesn't make sense for us just to throw you in there with the rest of them. So you're going to get a very customized presentation and proposal as far as what's going to work for you. One question, Bruce, coming in the mix. What is the extra charge for replicating data on a second data center? There is none. It's just a default part of the program. The only time you don't get that.
And it really depends on which data center, Bruce, that you want to be replicating to. So I don't know which part of the world you're in, but we do have different cost schedules for data centers outside of the USA versus within the USA. So if you're in any of those other geographies, that's an additional consideration. What we find most of our partners opt for, though, is just to use our US data centers, because it's by far the least expensive of all of our cost schedules. All right, we're running out of questions on the line. Derek, do you want to just demo the dashboard?
Yeah.
So what Derek's opening up here is the partner dashboard, which is where really a lot of the interaction with our systems goes on as a partner. So the partner dashboard sort of concerned with two major functional areas. One is managing your backup business. So that is things like managing accounts and billings and support tickets with your customers, emails that you're sending to your customers, like marketing messaging, for example, the SKUs and offers that you're handling, your e-commerce integration. And then it's also got our central management and monitoring functionality built into it as well. So up on the screen here, Derek's got the monitoring dashboard, which gives you a sort of stoplight reporting system for all the backups that you've got deployed. So what you can see here on any given backup, so if we click into any one of these backups, we'll get the details of what's going on. And there are basically three key statuses. Green to represent that everything's gone according to plan, the backup's occurred and there are no errors with the backup. Yellow to indicate that there was an issue. So that will usually mean that a backup occurred, but there might have been some errors in the backup. And then red, which means a backup didn't occur in most cases. So these are the most important events. What this is mainly telling you is that a scheduled backup that you set up to run didn't in fact run, and that then needs you to go and investigate it. We've got a lot of reds here because we do a lot of our trials and evaluations through this system. So this has got a lot of customers who finished their trials and are no longer backing up. But this management dashboard is something that you would use as you deploy the product downstream to your customers to enable you to just get a quick snapshot of the health of your backup network. If you're managing, say, 100 endpoint clients, that central management portal becomes very, very important. Up on the screen here, you've got the sort of other half to our management dashboard, which Derek can sort of run you through all the options on the left-hand side. But this portal is really designed to help you manage your backup business. So everything from user management to support ticket management to a CMS to help you run the front-end pieces of your website, e-commerce integration with various gateways. So to that question earlier about Canadian credit cards, we're integrated with a variety of e-commerce merchant gateway providers around the world, and you can set up those integrations here. The currencies supported are listed on the screen here: US dollars, pounds, euros, Australian dollars, Canadian dollars. Here you can sort of see all the different offers that are being managed. So in this Sandbox account, you've got a partner who's set up a lot of different SKUs that they're offering to your customers. Generally speaking, we would set you up with the sort of 10 or 20 SKUs that you wanted to start with. But it's very simple for you to come in here and simply add in additional SKUs that you'd like to be able to sell.
Yeah. And then also on top of that, a big part is what kind of incentives can you make to make the deal seem a little sweeter. And we've also integrated a coupon code system. So here we have, for those of you who are in the American Southwest, we have a Cinco de Mayo special that we put on as an example. We made it date specific as well, so we can see that not only is it only good for the weekend of Cinco de Mayo, but it's only good for the first 100 users, and that's because we put a big discount on this. So it's a good way to get people out. You can submit this to your users via the mailer system that's built in here. So we have mailer statistics. You can run the statistics based on a subscription group or a campaign. You can upload contacts within this system with a simple CSV file, first column names, second column email address. And it just really helps you get off the ground and get running if you don't already have a system set to do something like this. Then, of course, your backup users, you can come in here, you can sort by username, sign-up date, and you have real simple controls to come in and view the details of this backup account. You can upgrade it without charging the customer. You can reset their password as long as it's not ultra-safe enabled. And you can also change the email address for that. Another big thing, again, is the content management system. So the content management system is CK Editor, which we've integrated in this package. It allows you to come into each of these pages, and you can view and edit SEO metadata, for those of you who want to work on that. If you want to plug in Google Analytics, you can ask us, and we'll go ahead and plug that in for you. Then in your main position, you have a nice little visual editor, a little WikiWik. So here's what it looks like in the editor. If we go here, here's what it looks like live. So even here now, you can go through. We have a link to recorded trainings. We have a link to a data detector. Get Protected, just a version of the software that we have. Example business continuity plan that we run through in our sales training. And then a Success with SOS webinar PDF that you can download from here as well. And you would have full control to come through and change what these link to. So I can unlink it. I can link it to a specific file that's on the server. And you get a real simple file manager. If it's not already here, you can browse and upload a new one. Pretty self-explanatory, link to internal pages. So if you're creating new pages, then you can do that as well. As you see that we have, in addition to the 5 default pages that we deliver for you, we've been doing some tests ourselves on some other pages. So we can link to any of that. And our customers really can use the web package at a couple of different levels. You can use it as, hey, this is very great, this is simple. I'm going to use this as my primary website, and then just build it out from there. A majority of our partners use this as a pseudo product site, so just product specific, and they link between their main website and this. And then we have another group of users who just link to the sign-up page and the login page and don't use the customer-facing web pages at all. And then, of course, we have our more advanced partners who have maybe some web development as part of their business. Just take our APIs and build all this into their own systems, and they're good to go. They don't have to go through us for any of the changes. So we really make it very flexible for you to get into the market. If you want the APIs, let us know. We'll give you those. If you want the web package, it's a default part of your package, and it's your prerogative to have it or not.
We're over time, so we'll spin through the rest of this, but also built into this portal are sort of other key functional areas you need to manage your backup customers. So there's a support ticket management system that you can use if you don't already have a ticket-based support system for your customers. There's an email mailing system built into the WIP. We call this portal the Web Integration Package, but the email mailing system lets you set up automated email campaigns to your customers, usually to promote trials. So we had that question earlier about how you'd go about launching trials. There's a variety of email templates over in the Partner Resource Center you could use and load them into this automated email system. So if you don't already have a marketing automation system in place, then you can use this out of the box along with the CMS. We have a lot of partners who come and build their own website, have their own email marketing system in place, have their own support ticketing system in place. But we also have a lot of partners who find all these tools very useful, and it helps them maybe make the jump from being a reseller to being a managed service provider and using backup as their first managed service. There's a lot of additional support tools and plumbing that's needed to make that transition. everything from recurring billing support to good email subscription management software. So we've tried to aggregate it all here into this portal for you, so you've got a turnkey solution that allows you to sell backup as a managed service. Well, we are out of time, so if we've got any other questions on the line, please let us know. We can answer them now. Otherwise, we'll wrap up today, and we want to thank everybody for your time and attention. If you're the winner of that Kindle, you'll get an email in the next 24 hours. Otherwise, everybody else, you'll get an email follow-up with a link to the video of today's webinar as well in the next couple of days. So if you want to review any of the subject matter, you can. And of course, if you're interested in getting any of the presentation materials used today, just call in and talk to one of our partner specialists, and they'll be able to give that to you.
All right, that'll wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, for coming by.
Thanks very much. Have a good day.